Hello, everybody. And Megan, my best friend, watching these videos. I'm going to be really fat phobic in this video. Just kidding. She says that sometimes I might sound a little fat phobic in my videos. So I'm going to try to tone that down. I'm not trying to, I guess just to make a stance. Ew, my thing's making a really weird noise. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what it is. And it's honestly so loud and annoying. So I hope it goes away. And if it doesn't, oh, I think it's like drilling. Ugh, okay, because they're making an apartment building, as they always do in New York. Anyways, am I afraid of being obese? Yes. So I guess in that sense, I am fat phobic, just inherently because I don't want to be obese. But I'd also ask anybody who claims that I'm fat phobic and, agrees with what I say mostly. Do you want to be 600 pounds? Do you want to be 300 pounds? No. So technically, inherently, you're fat phobic as well. So, the definition that they say when they say something is fat phobic, I don't think that they're trying to say it well, they are. It's just when they say fat phobic, like saying anorexia is fat phobic, technically it is, because if you're going by the definition of fat phobia, which is being fearful of or shaming fat people, like with homophobia, being fearful of being gay, or also shaming people of gay, which is mainly what it means. I think that anorexia technically is fat phobic, but it's just like what these creators are saying, they're just saying unnecessary things. Like, I think it's unnecessary to say that anorexia is fat phobic because you're just trying to take away from anorexic people and make, put fat people on like this. Oh, we should feel bad for them. It's like, yeah, you can feel bad for fat people in other situations, but why do we have to compare someone who has anorexia to someone who is overweight and say that the person who's anorexic is being fat phobic to that overweight person? The overweight person is doing nothing to the anorexic person. It's like, why does it have to be brought up? I just feel like they keep bringing up these other kinds of groups when it's unnecessary. Where was I even going? I'm so sorry. I just totally went off track. But anyways, we're gonna look at these videos today. I look normal again. I don't look as hot and sexy as I did last time, so I'm not gonna enlarge the picture for you. But let's just look at this. Okay. But overall, yes, I am fearful of being fat, but I do believe that fat people are valued and they're important human beings to society. And weight is not the most important thing in the world. It's just that if you let it get out of control, it can debilitate you and it can become your life. And can become the most important thing in the world. And you might die. So, I want to cut that off. I'm not talking about people who are a little bit overweight, a little chubby. That's what I am right now. I'm not stick thin, obviously not. You know, and even if it was, that's okay too. I'm in the middle and I want to be a little bit less and I'm gonna get there. But I'm not talking about people who are just a little bit overweight. I'm just saying that if you continue the same habits and don't give a fuck about your health, it's gonna continue and it's gonna spiral like it did for me. So yeah. Okay. Anyways. And we might watch a video too. I'm feeling kind of in the mood. Maybe some TikTok or something. I'm dropping the bit, losing my shit. Ooh, that rhymed. I get so used to living in bizarre land, but sometimes I just want to shake everyone. Calories are bad science. Uh, they are nearly meaningless. The BMI is bad science. It's nearly meaningless. The presumptions made in weight loss studies are so bad, and we've known this for decades, and we just keep, that's a weird way to interrupt a sentence, ruining lives. Why are we so invested in this clearly unfounded ideology about bodies? Well, yeah, I don't know. It's just strange to say that something is unfounded. It's an unfounded ideology when there is so many studies to back it up. And when I say so many studies, obviously I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I don't look at these actual studies. I am not a nerd. I'm not a nerd. I'm just kidding. I am not a science person. But I could guarantee you that I could go on the internet and find 30 studies from Harvard or Yale or whatever, whoever does studies about obesity. And actually, although I said I'm not a nerd, actually, on two occasions, I have written an essay about obesity and I've been able to find a plethora of basic studies. Not even the real ones. Like for my second one, I did the real one because it was a college report paper. But, you know, other than that, I could find just basic studies about obesity and how it's affecting people's health and stress and other things like that. at the end of the day, I think it's hard because I feel like the fat activists are trying to fight this big bad person. It's kind of like with the right and the left. We're fighting these big bad people. Like we're like a moderate. Okay, let me not get too much into politics. I'm not telling you guys where I stand. I'm just literally coming up with the simplest example. A moderate right-leaning person is attacking an extremist leftist person, and the same vice versa. And I'm not saying, oh, we all together, la 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 la. Like I know that that's not gonna happen. We don't live in a utopia. I'm just stating, in my opinion, I feel like the basis of facts. And obviously, right now, I'm fighting an extremist fat acceptance person. The thing is, that's different about this is that a lot of this is just being accepted as normal, especially in these spaces. And some extremists, people on the fat acceptance are seen as normal or are seen as regular. It gets really bad when something that's I would consider extremist is considered mainstream in the media. But I will say, in my opinion, I would say being overweight is a touchy subject, and talking about being fat and obese is a touchy subject in a workplace or with friends and everything like that. But I would definitely say that overall, I still feel like people think and know that being overweight and obese is unhealthy. I think it's slowly declining, but obviously living in these spaces, reading the subreddit, watching YouTube videos about it, I kind of forget that the real world, the normal world, doesn't constantly think about weight in the way that these fat activists do, in the way that I do, because I'm obsessed. I'll admit it, I'm obsessed, but these people are obsessed too, Um, but I don't know why I'm just mentioning that as a fact. I keep like trailing off a lot. I don't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I'm very frazzled today because I actually didn't sleep. So running off that energy right now. My sleeping schedule's been bad, so I've been trying to fix it by doing this. If you ever do this and it doesn't work, that's because you didn't try hard enough. Anyways, like a lot of these statements are just direct things that I disagree with. And so me just saying, oh, I disagree with calories are bad science. Like at the end of the day, it is mostly calories in, calories out. Now, are there a lot of pre-existing factors? Like, might it be hard for somebody to eat less calories? Yes. I experienced that myself. It is very hard. Calories add up very quickly, and it's very hard to make really good meals that are really low calorie, So sometimes you just have to compromise, you know? But at the end of the day, if you eat nothing, you will lose weight. You should not do that. It's very unhealthy, and I'm not promoting that at all. But if you eat a lot, you will gain a lot. And I did watch this one video, and I probably already mentioned it, but you probably haven't seen all my videos, doesn't matter. I watched one video where this guy, I don't really watch him that much because he like is kind of, I think he's a conservative or something. He talks about like a lot of conservative talking points, which I'm not really always into watching about stuff about politics, but he did a couple of videos on fat people. And it ranged on kind of just being mean and poking at them, but then there was one video where he had like genuine, like I guess, sympathy for overweight people and saying like he followed a girl's what I eat in a day, and he showed how easy it is for them to just gain weight. Like he even said, like, even though she was eating fast food, I think he said this, even though she was eating fast food and crap, she still wasn't eating like 2,000 calories. Like she was only eating, like, they just need to eat 1,800 calories and they'll still be overweight. Like I think it's just steadily you eat more and more. Like I don't think that all these overweight people and obese people are binging. A lot of them are, and I binge. Like I don't know if I binge. I don't want to say that, but I've had, bouts of overeating a lot, and they probably do too. But I think it's not as linear as we're thinking it. Like they're always every single day just eating crap. There's probably some days where it's just normal and it's, not the greatest. But I don't think they're always just sitting on their couch eating things. I don't think that that's always how it is. Sometimes you're just really busy and you have other things to do. And there's always a billion excuses because those are excuses at the end of the day. Are they valid? Yes, they are, but they're still excuses and they still can be replaced and changed, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, calories in, calories out is the basis of most diets, and most people know that. The BMI is not always the best marker for health. It's not always the best, but for average people, it usually works. That's what I stand by with my definition of BMI. Obviously, if you're a bodybuilder, you have like 15 pounds of muscle mass on you, and it says you're obese, you're not obese. Obviously, you're not. You just have a lot more muscle. And I think muscle wears more than fat. Yeah. So yeah, that's why you see a lot of lean girls who are 150 because they have a lot of muscle, which I mean that's not even that small. I mean that big. That's how much I weigh, but it's still like I don't have muscle. It's mostly fat. So obviously it's not going to distribute the way that it does for those other girls. And it doesn't say that they're obese, but I'm just telling you, like there's some models that are like bigger and taller and they tested for them, they're obese, but they're not. So the BMI doesn't work for, muscular people who are really muscular. But for most average people, it works and it's good to follow. And most calculations, like when I look at the TD calculator, it tells me what weight I should be, what weight is ideal. Most calculators come around to the same conclusion where I should be like between 130, 138, you know? So yeah. I think this person is just very tired and exhausted with fat phobic rhetoric. And I guess to a certain extent, I understand the frustration with our world being so focused on being overweight and how it affects you. But obviously, when there's a worldwide, or not worldwide, countrywide, and also worldwide, in my opinion, but like pandemic, epidemic, it is something that we're going to focus on and we're going to look into. But for this person, what's ruining lives, this is the $1 million sentence. What's ruining lives is being obese. It is literally killing people. And I know that sometimes they say it's the stigma. I'm just bringing up everything. It's the stigma that kills people because but like my question is, what does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? And then I assume that they mean the stigma, it hurts fat people because then are they really stressed and then they just die? Like, I don't want to be that dumb and assume that that's what they mean. Because if they mean it makes them restrict and then binge, then they die. What we're really saying is that at the end of the day, even if people are saying mean things to you, what really killed you was being overweight and eating too much, which is what they say no to. And this is again with the same thing with I'm fighting the extremist fat acceptance person. Not all of them think that weight has to do with that weight doesn't have anything to do with health, or weight doesn't have it, like you can't eat a bunch and gain weight. Not all of them think that. A lot of them do, but not all of them. I think the most crazy ones think that literally has nothing to do with it. But I think a lot of them just think that it's more complicated than that, which it isn't more complicated, but it's not that complicated. Okay. What does it say? Come model for me, but only if you wear 5X or larger. If any skinny people email me, I will throw a talk at them. That's just stupid. Like, I mean, I like how it says size inclusive, and the inclusivity is only people who are big. Like really big. 5X or larger? Like, I have to look up that size. Give me a second because maybe I'm like thinking about it weird. I don't know. Give me a second. Okay, I couldn't find any good representative photos for 5X, but it's big. It's not small. It's not like I just thought like there's something different with the sizing. Maybe it's a European size or something. If it is, then mind me, but I don't think it is. I think they actually mean 5X, like obese size clothing. I mean, if that's what this person wants to do, that's prerogative. That's fine. I just think that when we just turn it's like kind of when, I like to bring up a lot of examples, but it's kind of like when, in order to make movies feminist, people think that they just need to make girls or women be girl bosses. And in my opinion, that's stupid because we need, obviously diverse, dynamic, not static women who are bad, women who are morally ambiguous, women who are just like men, as in they can be any character. You know, it's the same thing with racial representation. We want all, in my opinion, I want all kinds of black characters. I don't want just black characters who are amazing and nice and the side character and they do nothing wrong and they're perfect and give advice. I also don't want the black character who is living in the streets, with crack and drugs and whatever. I mean, yes, I'll take that one because that's a reality for some black people. But I just don't like, okay, now I'm about to get into some race stuff, so we're not going to do that. But I want black people who are dynamic and different. And that's why this video is sponsored by, I'm just kidding. That'd be perfect though. All right, let's keep going. Ew. What the fuck? This quiz taught me that some cravings are actually withdrawals. Take a diet prod. Take it from a diet program which shall not be named. What the hell are they talking about? Withdrawals from food? You mean hunger? No, cravings are not hunger, dear. Get a dictionary if you need help. I mean, I don't get what they mean by withdrawals. I've never heard that. That's an interesting statement. And yeah, craving doesn't equal hunger. But usually craving means you have a hunger for something. But you might not actually be hungry. I don't know. This looks disgusting. So if this is what's in a diet program, I'm out. Sorry. It looks like sausage in between an egg extract with it, like it's all at the bottom. Like you're not gonna get all of this unless you took just one big colossal bite, which I don't think my teeth could fit. I'm analyzing it now. It just looks disgusting. Okay, here we go. What is this shit? People on diets are boring. Ooh. Oh, actually. Nope, I'm on his side. People on diets are boring and usually have some kind of eating disorder they don't want to face. They also usually are super hateful towards fat people. If he is fat too, I totally understand him wanting his partner to enjoy his life. What are they even talking about? You're actively being hateful to people because of what they want to do with their own bodies. You just equated diets with boring and eating disorders all in one go. An eating disorder is a serious psychiatric condition. It has nothing to do with being boring. Diet people are so hateful to fat people. My turn. Yeah, that's true. Like they are kind of like unintentionally, I will admit. I don't think that they were purposely doing that, but like it's so obvious. It's like kind of jealousy. And I think it goes both ways. The jealousy that people who just let themselves indulge in whatever they want have, or people who can be strict and on a diet. People who are strict on a diet also have jealousy that those people can just indulge in whatever they want, but they realize both come with consequences. And yes, sometimes it can be boring to eat healthy. It depends on the way that you do it. If you're a bodybuilder and you're in like prep or something, obviously it's going to be freaking boring, probably the same meal every day. But if you are like those people on YouTube who just eat a variety of different things, but still eat little calories, that can make it interesting too. It really depends on what you're doing. And honestly, I don't get why eating the same fast food, eating uh the same thing every single day isn't boring either. Even if it's fun, colored, and looks different and whatever. Like it's not really that fun. Like if you're cooking food all the time and making food for yourself, that's more fun and less boring to me. It can be healthy too, so I don't really get what this person's saying. I guess they're saying they can't go out, they're not going to go out to eat and all that. But I think a lot of people do go out to eat. There's so many videos on how to eat lower calories at restaurants, or people have cheat meals, all kinds of things like that. So I mean, the fact they're saying it's boring, it's not even. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's so fun. But it can be better than people think. it's not as restrictive as these people think it is. And it's not always an eating disorder. Like the person said, eating disorder is a psychiatric condition. We can't call every person that we see as a little self-centered a narcissist. It's like we need to stop just labeling people with diagnoses because we saw a couple videos, Like if your mom has been tormenting you for years and is showing very strong symptoms of narcissism, obviously then I feel like that's more appropriate. The same thing with eating disorders. If your cousin Becky has been, doing some concerning behavior in the bathroom, obviously that's different than if they just got on a diet and lost a couple pounds. You know, People who do diets can develop and go into EDs, and that is common. Just like how people who overeat can die early. All of it sucks. It's not great. We want to try to find somewhere in the middle. That's what I want to try to find. I don't want to even eating disorder. I also don't want to die obese. But I'd rather try than just give up and go in either way, Try to keep balance. It's difficult. And much like people who have drug problems and people who have alcohol problems, or people who have any other vice kind of problems, it's something that's hard to quit and hard to stop. And I have to just accept that I'm a disadvantage to other people. It sucks to accept this. It's not a great thing to know that if I eat whatever I want, I will overindulge myself. It's not a great feeling. It's not fun. This isn't fun. This is the life I live. And I'll be happy once I have more control over food. It's difficult. It's a difficult road. It really is. But I'm trekking through it because it's worth it for my health. Anyways, enough about me. Calorie counting is toxic AF. It can be toxic. It can be really toxic. But for me, I can be very logical. It's funny. It's weird. I can be like silly and fun, but I'm also very logical in the brain and straightforward. Like it's weird that I have that juxtaposition. My friend Megan will say that. But, well, she won't say that, but she'll agree, I think. But I think calorie counting for me is helpful because it makes me able to see exactly everything that I'm eating and putting into my body. And it makes me feel more comfortable. But, I had a nutritionist talk with me and she did tell me that eventually, I might not need to do it as much as I do anymore. And it's right. Like at college, I can't calorie count. And I just have to accept that. If I really had an eating disorder, I would probably just eat nothing at my college because I'm so afraid that I can't count every single calorie. But in reality, I still eat and I make sure I eat 3 meals a day and I just make sure that I have enough portions. When I'm at home, if I can calorie count, I'll do it if I can help it. Because it's convenient and I'm making all my food and it's why not if I can, let me see. And losing weight because most programs starve you. You probably realized that before. I don't know what the context of this is. But yeah, there are a lot of programs out there that will just make you eat very little. And obviously you'll lose the weight, but then you'll gain it back because you'll stop the program. So not all the programs out there are the best. I don't really support them. Diet culture is trash. Eating disorder culture is not great. Obviously not talking about the culture that's in recovery. I feel badly for this woman who feels like she has to do this, and badly for the dude who wants her to see that she doesn't have to do this, but is going about it in a garbage way. What is this TikTok video that they're talking about? Holding each other accountable is one thing. Having a go at the other where there is no agreement that they both do the same, no. What are they even talking about? Both of y'all are dumb. How am I supposed to understand all these posts when they're all in different colors? It's like from different people. I found these comments on a post from a woman who was worried about her husband actively trying to sabotage her attempts to lose weight through calorie counting after deciding to ditch the diet himself. Thankfully, most of the comments fell into sanity category, which means like sane. But there were a few exposing the usual all calorie counting bad rhetoric, asking your favorite people on diets are boring. Well, TikTok comments are always so dumb. TikTok ruins everything. Like, what did it ruin for me? I don't know. It just ruins everything. I'm trying to think about it. I don't know. I just think it reduces everything down to its most basic formulas. And this person's probably young, so I'm not gonna give them too much hate. But to really support somebody trying to sabotage somebody else, like that's not a good way to go about things. Like you have to sit down and talk with them. You know, I actually want to see the video. Look for the TikTok, I think. But like trying to sabotage someone trying to be healthier is really messed up. And this guy who's overweight probably doesn't support the fat activist rhetoric. He probably just gave up and he just wants his wife to give up too. I doubt that he's like, oh, I'm fat acceptance, blah, blah, blah. You know, if he is, then that I still think it's wrong, obviously, but I doubt that that's what it is. So it's just a man who's purposely, it's a guy, right? Yeah, trying to sabotage his wife. Like, that's not good. Let me see if I can find the TikTok and then we'll watch it. See. Sometimes I wish that they allowed links on this, but also I get that, you know, a lot of jerks on this red thread, because there's always jerks on threads, would probably hate on it. So I understand why there's no link. I thought there would at least be a deleted one, but no, I looked it up. There's nothing. This looks like a very interesting. Ooh, and it's for the Tovar. I hope it was filmed. I'll look it up later. I interrupted an obesity conference with fat friends. Here's why. I have so much to say already. 101. We were instructed to line up in a single file so we could burst through the doors of the lecture hall during the keynote. Is this in a college or something? Ooh, great. Bullet points for so my simple brain can look at it. Let's do all of it. Let's do all of it. We're gonna do all of it. Because why the fuck not? Oh, let me get some water actually. I'm gonna get some water in a minute because I'm gonna need it for Virgie. I'm gonna need it for Virgie. Virgie! 1 second. Pause recording. Come on. All right, let's keep going. I became a fat activist around 2010. Yeah, we all know Virgie. Even though it was only 12 years ago, the world was a different place. Totally was. Most people didn't know that they could opt out of dieting. Everybody opts out of dieting, whether it's intentional or not. Almost no one had ever heard of the idea that you could just accept, let alone like, your body at any size. Yeah, I mean, mm, like, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'll say body acceptance has grown a lot. The body positive movement had yet to emerge. There was no dream of Lizzo on the horizon. Mhm. I mean, I think she existed 12 years ago. I'm not going to disagree with what they're saying because she's probably right, but I just think the way that it's gone is in a bad direction. You know, there are no podcast episodes critiquing the BMI. You already know what I feel about the BMI. Instagram didn't exist. Really? Wow. And LiveJournal provided the platform for a tiny corner of the internet where mostly queer fat femmes could just post their amazing outfits of the day and give and receive the admiration that a greater culture had refused to provide. Like, and I think that, you know, that's pretty like admirable. I think I would say. Like, I think that that's very sweet. You know, I think there's a lot to be said for just accepting your body at any stage that you're in. Because right now, I'm not very happy with my body. I'm not I'm not as big as I was. I want to be smaller. And it doesn't mean that I'm very mad at my body. Like I was a lot more upset with my body when I was at my biggest weight. But there were moments that I did accept myself. And the thing is, like, there's this hard juxtaposition between accepting yourself but still being able to change. But the thing is, I said this in another video, acceptance is a part of change, you know? Once I accept who I am now, that's when I can change. And I don't mean in just weight, I mean in everything. So I already said in another video, so I don't need to say it all here. But I think that it's great that she had a community where she could talk with other people and show their outfits of the day and, you know, accept her body. But, and I say this with a big but, I didn't even mean it like that. It doesn't take away from the fact that it's still unhealthy. And like, I think And she says, critiquing the BMI. This is when we kind of get to that health part because they're like, why are you bringing up health? It's like we're bringing it up because you bring it up. You know that with every fat comment that's ever made, the idea of health is behind it. And you're trying to attack that health part, but we're not allowed to mention it, you know? And I think that that's where it gets kind of murky. Like, I'm not going to go to fat people who are in a dressing room. Like, let's pretend like I'm working at a dressing room. I'm not going to, like, they're going to wear a dress and I'd be like, oh, that looks so beautiful, but you're not healthy. Like, I'm not going to do it in settings where it's definitely, obviously not welcome. But in this setting, when she's talking about critiquing the BMI, she's not talking about bodybuilders. She's talking about when the BMI shows morbidly obese people that they're obese and they should probably lose weight. She's like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't want to use the term dog whistle because that's not what this is. But if you can equate, like that's what it seems like. That's what I hear in my brain. And I hate using dog whistle. That's such an awful term because that's used for like really bad things. If you don't know what it means, just look it up. It's not really that bad, but it's like a small little call to other things that they're not going to actually talk about. Like she hasn't talked about why they're critiquing the BMI, but she's just saying it. And that just was just to me, oh, it means the BMI is BS and we shouldn't look at it at all. And that health isn't based on weight, blah, 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 blah. But I just see that one thing. Sorry, my mommy came and I was afraid I woke her up, but I didn't. Okay. Oh, I don't even know what it was saying. I was probably going off on another rant, like I always do. Okay. When I entered fat activism, I could feel the crackle of an electric, this is so ridiculous, electric movement on the brink of changing history. I was all in, mind, body, and soul, in the midst of my new fat liberation. Euphoria. A friend told me to come, my friend told me to come to a direct action sorry, my thing is going, at an obesity, I said the slur, conference in San Francisco, led by activist and author Marlon Wayne. Do I need to bring anything? I asked. No, just come. She's so ridiculous, she replied urgently. I showed up at the designated time and place, a hotel in San Francisco. Why is she saying come? Anyways, I'm not going to critique that. That's unnecessary. It's just me nitpicking the storytelling. I'm a writer, so I'm going to do that naturally. I think that there were a little over a dozen other fat activists, and there was buzz of excitement and nervousness that had become familiar from what? Okay. Excuse me. Whew. Doing anti-war or anti-racism actions as an undergraduate at US Berkeley. Of course you went to Berkeley, bro. That's fine. That's fine. No judgment. I just judge so bad. Educated, good for her. I didn't quite know what we were about to do. You don't know where you just show up to a place, you don't even know what you're doing. Well, okay, this is important, guys. It's bolded. So I'm being really, I don't like Virgie Tovar. Made that very clear. I just don't like her. So I'm gonna be kind of bitter. But it's not because she's fat. Like I don't care that she's fucking fat. I don't like her because of what she spewed for a lot of her career, the videos she's made. I don't like her. So yeah. I see what she's trying to do. I get what she's trying to do, and I don't like it. We were instructed to line up in single file so we could burst through the doors. This is so ridiculous. Sorry, it'd be nice. During the keynote. What is that? I don't even know what that is. I'm so dumb. The keynote? Okay, that must be really important. My stomach dropped. The feeling reminded me of being at the point on a roller coaster where you're strapped in and there's no way out. Fight or flight had kicked in and I'd come too far not to fight. So I don't understand. Like, where's the obesity part? Anyways, Marilyn stood at the front of the line, looking ready, wearing, this is so, what? wearing sunglasses with enormous, oh my God, sorry, my Zoom thing was covering it, and I thought it said enormous boobs, and I was like, what? This storytelling's really got on a path. That would have been so funny though. And this is even worse though, actually. A boombox? We in the 80s? What? Okay. Enormous boombox foisted on her. Oh, whoopsie. Almost did something weird. Is this the same thing? Or I don't even know what I'm reading. Group of fat people marching, dancing, actually down the center of the aisle at the crowded lecture hall. At the head of the hall, there was a man dictating a lecture into the microphone from a script that sat on the lecture in front of him. He did not look up at any point to recognize the interruption we were creating. See, that is so badass, though. That is so badass. Like, maybe he knew it was going to happen. But his colleagues noticed. At first, they seemed puzzled, attempting to calculate what was happening and who we were. Yeah, because it's really weird to just start dancing. Like, it feels inappropriate and unprofessional, that is. Like, I don't care what movement you're trying to spend. Like, unless it's like a white supremacist meeting, which I doubt you're going to any of those dressed like that and like I am not doing that. That's a waste of my freaking time, you know? This is a waste of your time. You're dancing in front of people who don't give a fuck. Like, what's the point? Did you make like they must have made a video. Because there'd be no point if they didn't make a video. Or is it just for this article? You didn't even know what you were doing. So this is pointless. This is just like for fun. We kept going, headed straight toward the lectern. What are you gonna do? Attack him? Like they're acting like they're marching into battle, bro. Like, anyways. Marilyn set the pace. A casual, bouncy strut. And we all wow, this is ridiculous. Like, she's trying to make herself sound so cool. Like I want to see this video. I hope there's a video. We're gonna watch after this. My body was told like just hear how like poetic and like ooh yeah look at me she sounds. And then if we can find a video, we're gonna see how it actually looked and be like wow I already know I'm predicting. Okay, this is very petty and like I just don't like British, so I'm sorry, but like I'm doing this. This is entertainment, so whatever. I'm not gonna explain myself. Just living. My body was totally flush with adrenaline. That feeling I got when I know I'm doing something bad. Ooh. Somewhere along the way, the person in the front had started chanting, correlation isn't causation, correlation isn't causation. Okay. We reached the front, we fanned out, standing right in front of the lectern, in plain sight of every single person in that hall. We, a group of fat people, danced in front of this group of obesity researchers to music. It felt scary and awkward. But also I can't read that. Something and amazing. At no point during any of this did the keynote address stop. The beats of fat affirming music competed with his unceasing monotone grind. The soundtrack of conflict. I mean, that's usually how any kind of research meeting goes. It's very monotone and basic. You only are really there if you actually find it important. So, not really a diss, if that's what you're trying to do. With Lizzo, or whatever you were playing. Before I knew it, we were headed back out of the hall, still watching slowly and casually. Yeah, before we knew it, we realized we got bored. Once we reached the lobby, we were angrily ushered out by the hotel by a red-faced woman who hissed, "Shame on you!" Wow, it's just like, I mean, like, why are we insulting the random person who's upset with you? That you're like, maybe this was the manager and you just like ruined an event. You just sabotaged an event that they held. Like, can you imagine like who you're affecting when you're doing this kind of stuff? Like, and the thing is, I guess to them, this is as important as a racist march or something, but it's really not that important. It's really not. you're inconveniencing people, and you call them red-faced. You have the audacity to insult the person who's upset with you, who's probably a manager of the hotel and was stressed about this event, or like stressed about you being there. Like, can you imagine trying to do your job and then these random people just ruin what would be literally ordinarily just a regular meeting like anything else, and you're just like shocked and like you don't know what to do? Like what? Like, I mean, I guess you can insult them if they're yelling at you, you're mad, but like really? Unless this person's just a random stranger, like then that's fine. But I don't know. I just feel like they're talking about like a hotel manager or something. Like they're saying they're angrily rushed out of the hotel by a red-faced woman. So why would you guys leave just a stranger? You know? Anyways, I remember thinking it was ironic that she wanted to shame me on behalf of a conference that promoted the kind of thinking that had landed me with an undetected eating disorder and lifetime of body dysmorphia with which to reckon. Literally, no one's thinking about that. No one cares. Like, I shouldn't say no one cares. I should say you cannot take out what you've battled in your head personally out on random people who literally have nothing to do with it. Those specific researchers didn't provide you with a study that made you go into an eating disorder. Obviously, our society did, and I'm not going to pretend for a second that it was all in her head and that she just came up with the idea of it. She was obviously fat shamed and bullied and made to feel like she should be really, really skinny and had an eating disorder. But these studies are not just there to make people have eating disorders. They're not just this like they're there to show people that being obese is not healthy. Now, obviously, the way that our society has dealt with that information is not good. That doesn't mean we go to the messengers and shoot them. Don't shoot the messenger. You know, that's what they're doing basically when they're stomping up in there, making a ruckus. What do they think is going to happen? Do you think the research is going to stop? He literally kept going, in my opinion, like a badass, while you guys danced in there and blah 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 blah. Like, what did that do? It did nothing. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I get why protests exist and why peaceful protests exist to show a message, and you literally did it to make this whole article. But it's just like when you go out in public and you're doing a peaceful protest, you don't know who's looking. It could be somebody who supports you, it could be somebody who doesn't. But usually you're hoping to get people who support you and you feel valued, you know? But if you're just going to go up to a group of researchers who obviously probably don't agree with the rhetoric that you're spreading, all you're doing is just causing a ruckus for no reason. I'm not going to go to the KKK and start being like, guys, trust me. And also, I'm not comparing these researchers to the KKK. I'm trying to go to the lengths that they are. I'm trying to extend what they're saying because I'm saying, why is it even that important? And then they're going to probably say, well, it's obese discrimination just as important as racial discrimination. Well, then I'd say, okay, well, I'm not going to go to the freaking KKK, am I? It's pointless. It's stupid. Like, they're going to still believe what they believe. They're spending their money doing research, and it's their job. Like, anyways, these conferences contribute to the legitimization of diet and weight loss industry, both in the diet and weight loss industry relies on the fatphobic claims of researchers and medical professionals, the kind who were in a lecture hall to continue to market and sell products that. Okay, so maybe with this one, she's going to get into like how they are promoting, like these researchers contribute to people promoting diet pills and diet programs and stuff like that. And again, I would say the same thing. I doubt that these researchers are directly working for diet pill companies. And if they are, then more power to them, more power to these fat activists for doing it. I still think it's stupid. It's still going to get done. It's still going to happen. But I think these researchers were probably just simply researching just to research on obesity. And I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of diet culture people out there that are getting researchers to do it, but there are a lot of researchers out there who aren't doing it with any relation to any kind of diet culture product, and they're proving it. There's literally people who aren't doing research at all and are just experimenting with their own bodies and they lose weight, So I think you're just afraid of the truth. That's really what it is. And you will do anything to fight against it, even try to stop researchers from proving you wrong. by just shouting and dancing. And that's all these fat activists have. I wish I could end the video with this. I'll end the video with this if I cannot find the video. All the fat activists have is loud music and dancing. They can't stand up against the real facts because they didn't come there with a bunch of other studies that proved them wrong. They didn't do their own conference. They just stepped in there and shouted and embarrassed themselves. That's all the fat activists can do. And we can just sit and watch and be healthy. All right, peace. If I can't find the video, have a good day. Could not find a video, unfortunately. So they just did that. They didn't even make a video out of it. At least other fat activists would have seen it and, gotten all happy about it. That's really dumb that they wouldn't do that. I feel like that would be like literally one of the most viral videos if they did that shit. But they just did it just to do it, and then it's just recorded by her. That's not really impressive in my opinion. But anyways, peace.